Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles.
And my name is Kirk.
We're doing the over-unders for the AFC East 2024 NFL season. Check out our 2 episodes from last week, the Souths. AFC, NFC
yes.
South.
Oh, yeah. And it's that time of year. We're ramping up.
Starting to plant some flags on some teams that we like, maybe some teams we don't like.
Getting closer to training camp, a couple of preseason teasers.
Rebel against some hype.
Yep.
Or take a stand where we will.
It's time to solidify those decisions and completely change them by October.
So we're going to the AFC East, a very, very interesting division with a lot of major storylines.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's start with the Buffalo Bills. 11-6 last year. Their over-under is 10.5. And the storyline for them is up and down season, ending in back-breaking, heart-stopping tragedy.
Seems like that's been the story for 4 years or 5 years now. Jeez, poor Josh Allen, dude.
It's the Josh Allen's wild ride. They're a preseason favorite. By midseason, they were like 6-6, remember?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, they're not even going to make the playoffs. Then, of course,
they rattle off a bunch of wins.
They're the 2 seed, right? Were they the 2 seed or the 3 seed going in? And they're like a Super Bowl favorite. and then they lose.
And then, of course, they lose on a missed field goal.
Yeah, Mahomes comes to Buffalo. The thing they needed Mahomes on the road. The kick goes wide right.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Just the sweet justice of it all. Poor Buffalo.
Sorry, Buffalo fans. Been dubbed wide right 2. In the moment, everyone was like, this is going to be remembered forever. But I don't know. It's not really as bad as wide right, the real wide right, or even as bad as 13 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, the first wide right was to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's a little worse.
Yeah.
It just sucks it was against the Chiefs. I think that's what makes it burn the most.
Yeah, it was against the Chiefs. And the one more year of not winning the Super Bowl adds a level of tragedy to the 13 seconds game.
Oh, yeah.
Like I keep saying this over and over again, but we haven't really understood the true tragedy of that game until the Bills aren't Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah.
Right now, they're still Super Bowl contenders. There's still hope.
Yeah, the window's there.
Yeah.
But this year's a little different. A little different.
Yeah.
A lot of different.
We defended Tyler Bass, right? Though he missed the kicking, but they were going to lose anyway.
Oh, yeah.
They're kicking a field goal, 1:40 left.
Yeah.
They lost when Diggs dropped the deep balls.
And it was to tie the game. It wasn't even to take the lead.
And so all Mahomes needed was a field goal with like 1:50.
Yeah.
That so much.
Dude got a field goal in 13 seconds. You think he wasn't going to come down and score?
Yeah.
Come on, Bills.
Well, Josh Allen's still there. So Sean McDermott's still the coach. Feels like the same, loading back up, but we are kind of going into a new, 2.0, 3.0. They've lost Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
Their safeties, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, are both gone. Tre'Davious White is gone. It's kind of another little mini era here for the Buffs.
They are kind of rebuilding a good team. So they got pieces that work, but you can tell that this window didn't work out. Mm-hmm. Let's try something else. The biggest story is the receiving.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis gone, Stephon Diggs gone, and all of a sudden you're looking at a Bills wide receiver core, and you're just like, what is this?
And nobody except for Shakir has caught a pass from Josh Allen, or a touchdown pass from Josh Allen. Let's see. Okay.
And they panicked. They got everybody. They drafted a receiver. They signed receivers. I mean, they bring in Chase Claypool for crying out loud.
Oh, they got Marquise Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah.
Which is sad. It honestly makes me sad. Because they saw like Marcus Valdez-Scantling do like one good thing against them when he was on the Chiefs, and they're so desperate to get a little piece of the Chiefs. Dude, Marcus Valdez-Scantling sucks.
Yeah,
dude.
And so
he's a running joke.
Yeah, and so is Chase Claypool.
Well, let's talk about. There's some names above that.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel.
That's
a pretty good one. If he can stay healthy, I really like Samuel.
Yeah,
but that's the thing.
It feels like they're doing what the Chiefs did the last 2 years once they got rid of Tyreek Hill. They're like, let's bring in a bunch of like okay receivers, and they'll just kind of have their game. We'll just go somewhere else every now and then. If that works, I don't really know.
Yeah. So Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman,
that's the draft
the
pick.
First pick of the second round. Khalil Shakir. I think they just need 2 of those 3 guys
to step up, and then Dalton Kincaid, the tight end, could just absolutely go off this year.
And don't forget about James Cook out of the backfield. That matters.
Yes.
And that helps the receiving game. I'm not down on this. Are you? You seem like maybe you're. I feel Stephon Diggs was a toxic character.
He was a problem.
He needed to go.
Yeah.
Sure, he had 5,400 yards in 4 seasons or whatever. Really, really good. But I don't know. Maybe a little pep in the step, like Samuel, Coleman, Shakir. I think 2 or 3 of them are going to break out.
I feel like I'm just not. I haven't seen it on the stage yet. Like, Josh Allen hasn't thrown to any of those receivers. How good is Josh Allen really? And, this is the new coordinator that came in from last year.
Yeah.
Now he gets a full season. He's kind of getting the pieces that he wants to run with. They clearly have more of a run game specific offense.
I was going to say to run with, literally.
Which is good because Josh Allen's another year older, more bangs and bruises.
Yes.
We're worried about the Cam Newton effect here. So let's pocket pass this guy.
Honestly, save the wild Josh Allen heroics for the end.
Yes, right? You don't have to use that through the 17-game season.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need that. You can make the playoffs.
Yep. I agree. I think that this is the right thing to be doing.
I do too.
It's going to make their games a little bit more boring in the regular season. Then again, they've gone through 3 years of being like, Buffalo is the most entertaining team.
Seriously.
I'm thinking about their games against Minnesota, their game against the Eagles last year.
Opening night against the Jets.
Jets. I remember they had a game against Brady and the Bucks. Like, it's always just wild.
The Broncos game.
Yeah. Broncos game.
12 guys on the field on a field goal block.
Let's get a little bit more boring here, Buffalo. Let's get a little bit more boring.
Let's just make it through the regular season.
Who's their other running back? They got James Cook. I'm just wondering, like, do they have the personnel to do this? I mean, they've got they lost their center. They got somebody else in there now.
Yeah, the depth at running back is a little it's weak. It's
Ty Johnson.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And he's mostly a receiving back anyways. So I don't know. Maybe they'll sign somebody else. I'm sure there's a running back that's old that can come in and do something. But
exactly.
Yeah.
Running backs.
They're expendable.
Interchangeable.
But James Cook is legit. He's the second best player on this offense.
You have always liked James Cook. You should
take
a little victory lap. You liked when he was drafted, and I didn't.
I mean, this guy is a legitimate 3-down back. Like, he can run it up the pipe. He can get to the edge. He's got speed, and he's a good receiver. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how this guy just fell through the cracks. And everyone's like, Devin Singletary and Zach Moss from years ago, and they're okay. But James Cook was like, this guy is legit.
Yeah, I think Cook's a little bit pop over that.
Yeah.
He's just a little bit more playmaking than the way the offense looked with Singletary and Moss.
Yeah, and he's smart. He's comparable to Pacheco, And unfortunately, I will compare the Bills to the Chiefs from forever.
Yeah.
So
that's their lot in life until they beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. I mean, that is their lot.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest storylines of the whole season, and I'm rooting for it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know what? They're going to beat the Chiefs in the divisional game and, like, lose in the title game to Burrow. They also got Burrow.
By like 30. Yeah. Just get him blown
They also got Burrow in their craw. He knocked him out one year.
Yeah. But this is a do or die year for Sean McDermott, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
If this team doesn't look good, if they're going through the same types of regular season BS, and they don't get very far in the postseason again, they might give him the axe.
Yeah.
And see what Josh Allen can do with a different coach. I like Sean McDermott. He told the Bills used to be awful for decades. Like, they couldn't do crap. In comes Sean McDermott and Josh Allen, and now we're talking about Super Bowl contenders every single year. Yeah. You can't really fault him for that.
They should have a Super Bowl. I mean, he has done that. To me, he did everything that they could do. Sure, the defense blew it a few times, and that goes on McDermott. But, man, I mean, look at the NFC. Nobody has to play Mahomes and Burrow like this. Allen should have a Super Bowl if they just won one of those games.
If the Bills were in the NFC, they would have been to a Super Bowl already.
They beat 4 in a row. Probably lost them all to Burrow and Mahomes. All right, let's talk about the defense here real quick while we're
just
cruel before we pick the over under. They still have Milano, Bernard, great linebackers. Their secondary is the story. Poyer and Hyde are gone. They're sort of that representation of the McDermott first couple years where they actually were good for the first time since Brady left, basically, or since Brady started.
Yeah.
The whole 21st century.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're gone, replaced with Taylor Rapp from the Rams.
I'm okay with
safety,
that. I like that.
And replaced with Mike Edwards from the Chiefs.
Okay.
So, couple of Super Bowl winning safeties in there. They're a little older, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
I like that they mix it up because it was getting predictable. And the Bills' defense last year was pretty good.
Yeah. And like Poyer and Hyde, they both missed like multiple seasons on IR. It's just a good system for safeties.
Yeah.
I feel like at a certain replacement level, you can get good play out of safeties in this system.
Yeah. And I feel like last year we just completely forgot that there were so many injuries on that Bills team, defensive line especially.
Yeah, and Matt Milano was a brutal injury. He's one of the best players in the NFL.
Yeah. So I expect that defense to step it up again and everybody like, oh, the Bills defense is good.
Yeah.
Like it's a surprise. But that's partially been why this team keeps going back to the playoffs every year.
And partially why they have a high over-under, 10.5. Their fourth year over 10 on the over-under Vegas expectations here. What do you think?
Man, 10.5 is a tough number because you're guaranteeing like a division title here when you say that they're above that. Wins. But I think, God, man, I kind of want to say they get 10.
All right. Well, I'm going over, so maybe you go under. Maybe we'll cover ourselves.
I'm going under. Okay, this is a tough division, tough AFC. The Bills always seem to have tough losses. Mm-hmm. We already talked about a few of them from last year. Yeah. So I kind of think 10-7 sounds like a good record. They still make it in the playoffs, and be the underdogs. Maybe that'll be better for Buffalo. They're kind of under the radar this year.
Yeah,
and maybe just play a boring season and sneak into the playoffs and do it from there.
And I like the boring season. I think it does amount to 11 wins. I think this is going to be like one of their best regular seasons.
Okay.
They're going to get under control, everything. Josh Allen seems to have bought in. He signed off on keeping Joe Brady, and publicly said that, which wasn't expected because you thought maybe, Allen is frustrated with all the running the ball that they did late in the year last year. But I don't know. Am I just going to extrapolate late last year? Because they easily could have beaten the Chiefs.
They easily, yeah.
It could have happened. Like, I'm just going to go with what last year to continue. I usually hate that, but in a 4-year track record here, like an overall picture, I like what Buffalo's doing. Let's get boring. Let's win a bunch of games and then lose the Chiefs or Bengals in the AFC playoffs. Yeah. Wide left.
Let's get a wide lefter. Come on. Somebody call up Bass and get it done.
All right, let's go to the Dolphins. 11-6 last year. 9.5 over under this year.
Oh, that's shocking.
Shockingly high or shockingly low?
I mean, high for me.
Yeah.
Based on the way the Dolphins finished the season, I'm shocked that this team is still,
revered at all.
Yeah, touted the way that they are.
Well, that's the passing stats frame of mind. It's all over the place. People defend Tua. People love Mike McDaniel. This is year 3, so you kind of think, they're going to take that jump. You can kind of make excuses for the last 2 playoff games. So both the Mike McDaniel Tua years have both been wild card berths. Then they lost in the wild card playoffs. Yeah. 2022 without
Tua.
Yeah, without Tua. And without
that was
their
a
backup.
Better game, too.
They played with third string. And then 2023, they played in the 4th coldest game in history to the eventual champs. So yeah. I mean, you can kind of see how people could paint a narrative like maybe they won't get so unlucky a third time.
Yeah. But, the thing I was saying back on the South episodes, I'm just going to mention this every episode, being the hunter and the hunted is a different thing. Mm. And they are definitely being hunted this year. There's no longer the underdogs. They know they've got film 2 years of it. They know what to expect. Tyreek Hill's another year older. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I'm not a Tua believer. I'm not. I'm sorry. The system is great, but Tua is not good if the system breaks down. And so I'm Mike McDaniel believer. Absolutely. I like this guy. He's got, good ideas, fast pieces. Mm-hmm. He knows how he wants to run the offense. But Tua, when things break down, not a good improviser.
Yeah. I mean, he has not shown that he can do anything in crunch time against a good team.
Yeah.
I mean, he is like 0 for 12 on just performing in an important moment.
Yeah, and I feel like that gets swept under the rug. Like
it really does.
The knock on the Dolphins, they can't play in cold weather. They get bad down the stretch because their speed goes out. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's not really the problem here. The problem is Tua.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a Tua fan either. I'm just trying to give like some level of like just trying to fuel the fire for putting kindling on the Kirk fire here.
Yeah, right.
Start ripping into Tua, but I mean, I just think back to that Packers Christmas Day game where he had it. This was 2 years ago, and he just blew it. He's the reason the team lost, and everyone just if that was Aaron Rodgers or any other quarterback, we would be ripping him. Tua just gets these passes everywhere. It's unbelievable. He blew the game against the Chiefs in Germany last year.
Oh, yeah.
The offense was just gone. It was just gone.
And I even think back to the Thursday night Tennessee Titan game where the Titans came back on them. They had a chance to go down the field at the end, and Tua looked terrible. He's not a clutch player.
It's almost, but it's like, not only does he look terrible, he's like irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like the game is going on without him. That's how.
Yeah. I mean, I'm putting him at in clutch time, you might as well have Desmond Ridder out there.
Yeah.
And maybe that's too harsh, but he looks like he doesn't know what's going on. He's a first quarter, second quarter, third quarter kind of quarterback.
Yeah. And September, October type quarter. That's where all the stats are.
Yeah. And
precision passing, when the things are just being figured out, he can absolutely carve up.
Yeah. And he just can't take it to the next level when he has to. I mean, that's like the best that he's got.
And it's disappointing because he has Tyreek Hill, who's one of the best weapons in the league.
Yep.
Almost had 2,000 yards last year. Would have if he didn't get hurt.
Yep.
It's got Jalen Waddle.
Who got paid.
Yeah, got paid. He's got A-Chain. He's got Mostert. I think, they can still do the same thing they did last year and the year before, as long as those guys stay healthy.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe it's a moot point whether Tua is for real or not.
They could run it back. Could, maybe. They did lose some offensive linemen. That always concerns me. And I just got to rip into A-Chain here.
Go ahead.
These stats that people are putting out there saying why Devin A-Chain's going to take over the backfield is just the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
What kind of stats? Like
yards per carry seems to be the number one thing. Yeah. Just because he got over 100 carries, but we just got to remember, this guy got like 5 carries a game. He got hurt for half the season, and one of those 5 carries happens to be at the end of a 70-20 blowout against the Broncos for an 80-yard rush. Why are we caring about this guy's yards per carry? He's the number 2 running back. He's not a 3-down back. If you put Mostert gets hurt and he's the guy out there the whole time, no.
Yeah. I completely agree with you on the principle that I don't care about a yards per carry for a guy who missed half the season.
Right?
I don't care about that at all.
And it seems
he missed half the season.
Yeah, they're acting like this guy's a friggin' superstar all of a sudden. It's like, he broke off 3 or 4 good runs. He hardly ever carried the ball. And we don't talk about Mostert, because Mostert's a year older. He's a 30-year-old running back at this point. And yes, awesome. He got 20-something touchdowns last season. Yeah. Probably ain't doing it again.
Mostert's toast. He's done. People have no idea what running backs, how far they fall off.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a break. He's done. He's irrelevant.
Yeah, he was pretty much toast at the last 4 games of the season last year.
That's why I'm basing it off. I was just going to say that. I saw him go off the cliff. He's gone.
Yep.
That's my boldest take of the whole preview thing. Mostert's toast. 21 touchdowns, don't care.
I love it.
That's running back life. That's why they don't get paid, guys.
And I think A-Chain comes in and gets hurt again because he's not a 3-down back. So I think the running back is going to be it's going to be a concern. The offensive line concerns me because once you get Tua having to improvise things, it's a problem. Dolphins' big thing is,
boy, we are ripping them.
They want to be a speed team. They just want to be speed.
Got a lot of 4-4 speed.
And to me, this puts a ton of pressure on their defense. When all you are big plays, your defense has to be on the field a ton.
Yeah.
This reminds me of, they're not as good as the Seahawks were, but when Russell Wilson was, just making big plays down the field.
Right.
Our defense was on the field all the time, just waiting for that one big Russell Wilson play. We probably had 20 minutes of time of possession just because we didn't do anything for the whole first half. Dolphins are in the same problem, but they don't have a Legion of Boom.
I do not see that connection, really.
Okay.
I see Tua. I mean, I guess the big play aspect is yards after catch, but I see a short-term quarterback, short play quarterback, rather than Russell Wilson was just
deep plays.
Yeah, deep plays. I don't know. I guess they do often end as yard after catch big plays and stuff like that. It would explain some of the Dolphins' inexplicably bad defenses with such good names. On paper, they look so good.
But they're on the field all the time.
Yeah. And they don't look as good this year.
Not at all.
Yeah. But we're shuffling money We let Christian Wilkins go, like Xavier Howard go. All the edge rushers are gone from last year.
Let their defensive coordinator go.
Yeah, well, they didn't like Vic Fangio because he made him work.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I love Vic Fangio has basically said like they didn't want to work. Basically,
Yeah.
The Dolphins' rebuttal to that is he was too like hard on us or like too like it's like, dude,
So you didn't want to work.
he seemed like you just confirmed.
Right.
And the Dolphins fans will say that he didn't use Jalen Ramsey as a chess piece, as a queen on a chessboard. That's the big thing for them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand that enough to say, like,
I don't agree with it.
I mean, is that really a thing? Like using this chess piece, corner, like following everybody around? Like even the teams that play quote unquote man defense, they play zone like most of the time.
Yeah. It's generally 50-50.
Yeah, probably favored towards the zone, even in the most man-heavy schemes.
I don't agree with that either. But this team absolutely panicked trying to get Christian Wilkins' replacement. They got so many signed defensive linemen. It's just ridiculous.
Trying to get the next big Wilk.
They signed like 5 guys and like drafted one. And it's like, Calais Campbell is not the replacement. I love Calais Campbell, but he's in like his 15th, 16th year now.
I like Calais Campbell too. Yeah.
He is a monster, but he is old now.
Yeah. Well, they had to let him go because they got to pay Tua. That contract's not there yet, but it's
Tua, Hill, Waddle. That's where all their money is, or it's gonna be.
Yeah. If those 3 guys stay healthy, I think the Dolphins are still making the playoffs. We've been a little too hard, I think.
Oh man,
that's still really good.
It's man, I don't know. 2 years of seeing the same thing. I haven't seen much change in their team. They're just like, let's run it back. We'll do better this year. Mm-hmm. I think that'll backfire.
Well, under 9.5, you're going to go under?
I'm going under.
Okay.
There's no way this team wins 10 games.
Wow.
No way.
Okay.
Not in my opinion. I mean, if Tyreek Hill's a year older, we just keep expecting him to perform like he's 28. Dude's in his 30s now. Yes, he's a quick little demon, but a couple knickknacks and you see how much he disappears on the field.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I just don't see this team actually performing the way that everybody expects them to perform.
Wow. Okay. I'm going over.
Yeah?
I feel like they're going to do the same thing. Dolphins aren't winning a playoff game. They're not winning.
7 seed and they lose again.
Yeah, I don't care. They will not be relevant by the end of December and January because they're soft. The whole team is soft. We all know that. Tua's soft. It's just, we're ripping the Dolphins. We might as well just say it right out loud. They haven't won a playoff game since 2000. Jay Fiedler defeated Peyton Manning. The year after Dan Marino retired, Jay Fiedler defeated Peyton Manning, and they haven't won a playoff game since.
Ouch. Man, I didn't know they were on that big of a slump.
But the reason I'm going over is because they will win a bunch of games early. They're going to do the same thing. Hill and Waddle and Tua, while they're healthy, they're going to roast up a bunch of bad teams at the beginning. And they play a bunch of bad teams. They play Arizona. They play Seattle. Sorry us.
Yeah.
They play Tennessee. They play New England. They get to play Buffalo and Jacksonville in Miami, where the Jaguars and Bills will have to stand roasting in the Florida sun while the Dolphins enjoy the shade. Yeah. It's one of the biggest home field advantages in sports. That's part of why the Broncos lost 70-20 in week 3. But I feel like they're going to get a bunch of wins early. I could see them being 6-2, 7-1 in midseason. Then they'll collapse.
Okay.
From there. But that's getting that head start. I think they're going to get to 10. I mean, 10 is 10-7 now. Not 10-6. Yeah. So, I mean, they could lose 7 games and still get 10.
I don't know, man. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think they struggle out of the gate this year.
Okay.
I think they got some easy opponents. They're expected to win those. Dolphins fall behind is a problem for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I feel like they're a team and their defense just is not there this season. I think people can score with them, and they're going to get frustrated having to play all these close games in the fourth, and Tua sucks. He's not clutch.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good argument if they fall behind. I don't think Tua, but I'm saying same as last year. They're going to have these huge stats and these huge numbers and get up on teams.
All right.
In the nice, comfortable September and October games.
So you're going 10-7. I'm going 9-8.
And we're pissed.
Yeah.
You think they're going to go 9-8? You're an idiot.
That's unbelievable.
They're going to go 10-7. I'll put my life on it. Let me ask a side question. Should they have kicked the field goal in week 3 to get 73 points against the Broncos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go for the record.
They should have gone the record.
Just do it.
I remember watching it, like their 4th string running back, like Brooks or whatever.
Yeah.
Gets the ball, runs like a 52-yard run into field goal range. There's like 2 minutes left.
Right.
Just take the field goal.
I know.
Because that's all you're ever going to get, McDaniels and Tua. That's what your legacy would have been 73 points, the record. Now it's going to be,
A measly 70.
a measly 70.
I know. But I love that happened against the Broncos. Just,
Yeah.
screw you, Russell Wilson and Sean Payton and that whole team. I kind of hated them. Felt good.
That was humbling for them.
But 2 years of film on this offense, I think they're going to struggle. Defense has gone down a little bit.
Okay.
So just tamper your expectations on the Dolphins this year.
We ripped the Dolphins, but I still feel September, October will be fine.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to the Jets. So we disagreed on both so far. I went over on Bills and Dolphins. You went under on Bills and Dolphins. Be interesting to see how we do on the Jets here, because it's another high over-under, 9.5. They were 7-10 last year. That, of course, without Aaron Rodgers.
He played.
Well, that's a good point. He had played four plays. That's my bad.
Did he get a completion?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's check the stats.
I was wondering that when I was coming up here. I
think he had one.
He got one in there?
I can kind of...
I think he's throwing a pass.
Kind of envision it. Yeah, 1 attempt, 0 completions. So did not get any yards. So he's...
0 for 1, and he got sacked.
I predict this year he gets a yard.
No.
I predict...
Over under?
My over-under is 1 yard.
Dude, if he's under... Dude, it'd be amazing.
That'd be the most... It was one of the darkest, narrative things that I've ever seen happen to a fan base. It's brutal. Like 9/11. It's Monday Night Football. The Jets are so pumped for their first quarterback in really forever. They're as pumped as they were probably since 2008, Brett Favre.
Brett Favre, yeah.
And that...
Boom. Done.
Dude, and then they won that game.
I know, right?
What an interesting...
And they're like, still, season's over.
Yeah.
Just such a slap to Zach Wilson, man. No faith.
Oh, man. And Robert Saleh, who is a good coach, but he's one of the most annoying media coaches to me.
Oh, yeah.
He ripped the media both ways. He ripped them for... not standing behind Zach Wilson after, it was like, you guys don't know. We're a team. We got a plan. We're going to stick with Zach Wilson. Okay. You guys are all questioning everything that we do. Everyone's got a media list of who the Jets should go after. We're not like that. And then later in the year, Robert Saleh, and this is true, blamed the media for wanting to stick with Zach Wilson. He's like...
You told us.
He was basically saying everybody else thinks Zach Wilson's the guy. It's something. He's just an asshole.
Yeah, I feel like he just said that first one because you have to say that when your quarterback goes down. Yeah. We're gonna stick behind this guy.
Yeah, because you don't know.
Reminds me of Dick Vermeil crying up there when he said, "We're gonna go with Kurt Warner.
He's our quarterback.
He's our quarterback. We're gonna rally around him."
And then he did win MVP. So
yeah, he got lucky as crap, but yeah, put in the perfect spot. Anyways, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. What is described as in the magazine here is ultimate win now mode.
I would say so.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it is win now mode. I don't know how many years Aaron Rodgers has.
I think this is it, to be honest.
I mean, it's amazing the narrative around 40-year-old quarterbacks now, how you can just be 40 and still be good.
Right.
Only one guy's done it. It's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Nobody else makes it to 40.
Yeah, Breeze barely made it to 40, and he looked like...
Oh, he was a 5-yard check down man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could not get the ball down the field. Ben Roethlisberger faded off. Peyton Manning way earlier than that.
Yeah.
Eli Manning.
Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers.
Yeah. All of them.
None of these guys actually made good seasons at 40.
Yeah. But this is absolute... For the Jets, they got to be thinking Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah. Rodgers will be actually 41 this year.
Yeah.
A day after he plays the Seahawks in Week 13.
Dang. Okay. That'll be a loss. He always loses to Seattle. But, I mean, I do think this team it's built fairly well. I'm actually happy that the hype isn't as big as it was last year. I think that'll help them a little bit because last year it was just ridiculous. The hype they got once they signed Aaron Rodgers. It was like, oh, this team's absolutely going to win the Super Bowl. This is all they're missing. And maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I do think Aaron Rodgers has still got a year in him.
Okay.
I think he got to rest. He's
coming off an Achilles.
He's just been hanging out in New York. The team
hopefully rehabbing that Achilles.
The offense has been built around what he wants.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he's got to put up or shut up. And I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. This guy's clutch. He can get some things done for you. And with the defense, which is their actual good spot, will keep him in games.
Yeah, and I think, like you're saying there, he doesn't have to be, because the defense is so good, he doesn't have to carry a team. He just has to be some semblance of Aaron Rodgers.
For the first time in his life, he can be a game-managing quarterback.
Well, no, 2010, with that one good Packers defense, which they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. The Charles Woodson year.
Yep.
Well, I'm a little more worried about Rodgers at coming into 41 here after week 13.
I like it.
I think a lot of this depends on the Jets' offensive line.
Yes.
You know, and they've been in a full panic, as they should be. They signed Tyron Smith. They signed another 33-year-old tackle.
I think they brought in like 4 linemen.
Yeah, they drafted one. The 11th overall pick was Fashionow. They're going to make sure there's at least a tackle there.
Yeah.
And he's not the guy who gave up torn Achilles on the 4th play.
Right.
That guy's gone.
This Morgan Moses. Is that
Morgan
the guy?
Moses. That's the other tackle. Yeah. But so Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, they're both 33.
Yeah.
So they're not going to make it through the season. I'm worried about them.
Right.
Like, I mean, when has Tyron Smith made it through a season? There's a lot of age here, a lot of uncertainty. Maybe Fashionow will take over whichever one of them goes to IR in September.
She'll be one of them, or maybe both of them.
Yeah.
I do like that this is that narrative of, we signed 4 offensive linemen and drafted one or whatever.
Right.
We're fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
We still haven't seen it.
What I call team preview catnip.
It doesn't,
it's like, there's new offensive line names. They're gold.
Yeah, everything's solid now. It's like, no, that's not what that means.
Yeah, these guys, these 2 tackles are 33 years old.
Right.
I mean, and with significant injury histories, but they're trying stuff. They know how important that is. They can't hide that.
It can't be worse than last year. Or even the year before that. Their line has been terrible for like a decade.
If they could just protect
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, they signed Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams. There's a
love
good
that.
offense to be had here.
Mike Williams with Aaron Rodgers is terrifying. I don't know if Mike Williams is going to be so like ready when the season starts, but you know, like him being like the James Jones of like a Aaron Rodgers offense. Back shoulder catches, like, it sounds good.
Well, you're going to need protection.
You're going to need,
I mean, it's so important. It's like the story of the season.
Yeah.
I'm also a little worried. We're asking the Jets defense to be elite a 3rd year in a row.
Yeah.
Like, that is always hard. I worry about the injury bug, hitting when it doesn't hit. Like, I don't know. Every team preview, I basically say, but everyone could be hurt this time.
Right.
I keep saying that. That's like you're hunted versus hunter.
Yeah.
And I'm saying every time, but also everyone could be hurt.
Right.
As long as the Jets players stay on the field, Quinn and Williams, they now have Hassan Reddick on the edge with that Johnson guy. They got Sauce Gardner. They got Reed. They got the best corner combo in the league.
Yeah, on paper, fantastic.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. Am I just willing to just say for sure the defense is elite a 3rd year in a row?
It's tough.
It's hard for me.
I do think they'll be good, but maybe not like a top 3 defense like they've been.
Yeah, both 2022 and 2023, I would call them top 3 defenses.
Yeah.
And last year, if there was any hope, they kind of gave up at the end of the year because they're preserving their careers.
When they knew it was over.
They could have been the top defense in the league.
Yeah.
If there was hope, I think.
Yeah, I think the defense will take a little step back. Not huge. They're not dropping to last in the league.
Okay, yeah. You're right.
But
over under 9.5.
Oh, hold up. We cannot go through the Jets without talking about Breece Hall.
Okay, sorry. Running back corner with Kirk. Breece Hall.
Breece Hall might be the best running back in the league this year. Breece Hall is legit.
Okay.
I think Breece Hall is fantastic.
Wow.
And I know the fantasy world is loving him as well. I think he actually gets it. This is his 3rd season. He hasn't really gotten through his first 2 like so healthy, but like this guy can be a 3-down back for Aaron Rodgers and just make screen plays turn into 50-yard gains. Like there's no pressure on this guy this year, and he is going to be the X factor for this team. Breece Hall is gonna be a very, very, very good running back this year, and we're going to be talking him up the next year, which then he'll fail. but this year, I think he's legit. He's finally healthy.
Okay.
He's got his legs under him. I hope he stays healthy the whole damn year because
I like it.
yeah, he's great. It really is. He is probably, we had 76 receptions last year. 76.
Wow.
Like, it's underestimated part of his game.
Wow. That is surprising.
Yeah. And I think he gets washed under all this Jets defense, Aaron Rodgers, the receiving weapons, and it's like, dude, give Brees Hall the ball 20 times a game. You're going to be fine.
I think it's one of the things that we could see, but
it's the only reason they won some games last year.
Still ties to the offensive line to me. But
yeah, it is an offensive line thing, but
he could really blow up if the offensive line, for some reason, is good.
Yeah, and it could be okay, especially in the beginning. So yeah,
especially in the beginning. Okay,
now
over under 9.5.
9.5. I'm saying the Jets get to the playoffs.
Okay,
they're over.
All right.
They are over 9.5. They finally do it to lose in the wild card weekend.
Feels right.
Yeah. But I like the Jets this year. I think they'll be okay. I like the way their team is built. They're not really in a rebuild mode. They are a complete win now mode, which I like. Yeah. They get off to a decent start. They can start, 4-3 or whatever, and probably just run the table from there.
Yeah.
Defense is there, quarterback, running back, receivers. There's not much of a hole in this team. So I think they can definitely pull off at least 10.
Okay. I'm going under.
Ooh.
So we are not disagreeing on a single team so far.
Not at all.
In the AFC East, there is a hole, and it's the offensive line.
Yeah, we
sorry.
did talk about that.
Kirk kind of forgot about that. Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, they're just not going to be playing in November. Fashion out, hopefully he's really good, but he's a rookie.
Yeah.
And if it goes bad, Rodgers, I just think the mobility is gone. It's a big part of his game. He needs an absolute sturdy offensive line at this phase in his career. However, I am rooting for it. I want a good Jets quarterback.
Yeah.
We never see that. We haven't seen it since 68 Joe Namath. There's a certain Americana to it.
Wasn't even alive yet.
Well, we've seen the NFL films.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not talking about Testaverde or the weird Brett Favre season.
Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez is everyone defending Mark Sanchez is like they defend Tua today. That's the comparison.
Ooh, that's a good one. I
Sanchez
like that.
and Tua.
Yes.
I hate you, Sanchez. He was one of my villains of that era.
And Jets fans agree with you.
Yeah, Jets fans agree. Yeah. But I'm going under. There's just it's the offensive line, and it's the fact that I just hate betting on the same thing to happen a third time, and I just think the defense is going to take a step back.
Okay. I'm going to call out that those linemen get hurt, and then they sign Bakhtiari.
Okay. and his bond with Rodgers.
With Rodgers it'll come to fruition.
And then Bakhtiari gets hurt. What happens?
And then we're screwed.
Then they lose
That's
the
why
wild card
weekend. I say at least 10. I want to see the Jets in the playoffs. They are I think they are they have the record for least or most years without a playoff appearance now. Now that some of these teams have finally gotten through, I think the last time they made it was 2010.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I think they do.
I mean, it's been a long hurt, a decade or so.
So a wild card loss would be a win.
Yeah, for them. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the weirdest team to just cast as an afterthought in the AFC East after 24 years.
Yeah.
The New England Patriots without Bill Belichick.
Seriously.
Just an afterthought in this AFC East preview by the Mukilteo Football Show.
It is amazing to be talking about this team just with no hope.
4-13 last year. 4.5 over under. That's lower than the Panthers. That's lower than the Broncos. They're the lowest in the league.
Oh, good.
4.5.
Good Lord.
Vegas does not believe in Drake May or Jared Mayo.
Yeah. Well, they should believe in Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, that's right. They got Brissett back. Who looked good as the Commanders.
Yeah.
A little flints last year.
He can win a couple games. I guess that's why it's at 4. 4.5.
So Drake May is the second guy to take up the mantle in the rusted out barbed wire throne of the post-apocalyptic world of Tom Brady-less New England.
Yep. And first year without Bill Belichick is going to be weird, dude.
It is. It's so weird. And Jared Mayo's in there. The "do your job" signs are being taken down. They're talking collaboration. Is what Jared Mayo. That's the new motto. I first cringe just at the corporate nature of the synergy, but
Gotta have a slogan.
but I do agree that don't try to be Belichick. Everyone who's tried to be Belichick has failed. The "do your job" doesn't work unless you are really good at telling people what their job is and communicating their job.
Yeah.
Collaboration is kind of like, help us figure out your job.
Let's do it.
We're
Let's
a
do
little
it
lost
together.
here.
Yeah.
But I like that. Let's do something different. This youth, Mayo's 38.
Yeah.
The GM
Former
is 41.
player.
Yeah. You know what's funny is Mayo only has one ring. It's the 2014 season. He didn't even play that season. He was an IR after week 6. So
he was part of the years that we're losing.
Yeah, so they were losing Super Bowls.
Yeah, Super Bowls and AFC championship games.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of funny. He's not really like a major piece of the dynasty.
Okay.
Never played in a winning Super Bowl.
So he's still hungry.
He's still hungry.
I like that.
Nice twist.
I like that.
Nice twist. Patriots fans are spoiled and insufferable.
I know, right?
You know what's funny is we give the Packers fans so much guff for going from Favre to Rodgers in 30 years of great quarterbacks.
Yep.
But the Patriots did it too. Bledsoe to Brady.
Yeah.
93 to 2019. 30 years of never having to worry about your quarterback.
Yeah.
And now they're like, well, we went through the Mac Jones years. Now it's like, dude.
They act like it was forever.
Exactly,
2 seasons.
Exactly.
Got one Rookie of the Year in one of them. Come on.
No. And they went to the playoffs in one of those
Right?
years. Drake May. What do you think about Drake May? We talked about him in the preview, but I mean,
I like Drake May, not so much for this year. He's got Josh Allen type of attributes. He's got the build. He's mobile. He's got a rocket for an arm. He's a little inaccurate. Just everything we said about Josh Allen coming into the league.
Yeah.
So I like that I really hope they sit him early on. Like they don't throw him out.
I like that too. With Brissett.
Don't throw him out there right off the bat. Don't
And
let
I
him
like
just,
Brissett.
Yeah.
He should get another shot, man. He always does good when he comes in.
Yeah, but I do like Drake May, and I think they will build an offense around him. It's just this year figuring out what do we actually have. And I don't think they really know, so start with the veteran. Especially with the schedule they have. The beginning of the year is brutal.
Yeah, what do they have?
At Cincinnati, they host Seattle. Okay. Thursday night Jets, at San Francisco, Miami, Houston, Jacksonville, Jets.
Jesus.
That's cruel.
Wow.
They might not win a game there.
Oh.
I'm like, you start Brissett all those games, and then second half of the season, then you throw in Drake May. That's what I already have that written up on the board next to collaboration. So,
Coaches never do that, but I agree.
yeah. But it is a brutal onset, and I think Drake May, hopefully they sit him. Don't throw him out there with this awful team.
Yeah. Well, they got nothing. Nothing on offense.
They haven't had receivers in years.
Yeah. We're looking back at the Mac Jones, Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers era and wishing
that we had
for Kendrick Bourne and Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
It is so bad in New England playmaker wise. They got Jalen Polk from UW, who was our wide receiver 3, who struggled to be as good as Odunze or McMillan, in our opinion. We're Husky fans. Juju is there. He's toast.
I know.
KJ Osborne. Yeah, let's
you're sitting there with probably Kendrick Bourne, your number 1, which is terrible.
Oh God.
There's not any weapons. It's not like
Demario Douglas, some promising stuff in his rookie year.
Tight ends don't look as good. I mean, honestly, the best playmaker on offense is Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
And I think he can be a 3-down back. I'm kind of glad they got rid of Elliott, but, there's nothing really to be like, woohoo, let's go Patriots.
Yeah, and the defense, too. Like, I cannot evaluate any of these players. Except for Matthew Judon. We know he's good.
Yeah.
But everyone else, don't give me their PFF scores when they were in a Bill Belichick defense. I do not care about that going forward into 2024.
Yeah.
It's a complete question mark, and honestly...
I do think the defense, because it'll be the best part of this team because Mayo is a defensive guy.
Yes.
So I think that part will show more the crystallization. I don't know. Like,
That's what he's got to do.
Yeah, you will know what you got with that group.
Yeah.
Offense has got a year. Like, this is a year of just like, screw you, Patriots fans. Welcome back to welcome back to rock bottom.
Welcome back to 1992.
Yeah, welcome back to the rest of the league.
Yeah.
Where you don't have weapons, you don't have a good quarterback, you can't get the scores when you want the scores, so they're going to struggle, and I couldn't be happier. that this is happening to their fan base.
They absolutely deserve it. No more Super Bowls ever for New England. They went to 10 Super Bowls in 27 seasons. Like from Bledsoe's 1 to Brady's 9, 10 of the 27 seasons. And you know what I remember most? Them complaining every time they didn't get in one for the 17 seasons. I want them to go 50 years without a Super Bowl appearance. We got 5. We're up to 5.
How could you fire Bill Belichick? The guy made it to a third of the Super Bowls he coached in.
I already told you.
It's ridiculous.
This is upper management 101, man. This is Robert Kraft saying, that's not up to my expectations. So now he's free of blame for the last 3 years, and he had to fire somebody to do it. This is just upper management, short-term thinking.
It's just ridiculous. Like, John Harbaugh won 1 Super Bowl. He's been to 1 Super Bowl.
Yep.
And we think of him as awesome. Mm-hmm. Bill Belichick went to a third of the Super Bowls that he coached.
Counterpoint, Bill Belichick brought in Matt Patricia and put him in charge of Mac Jones' offense.
That might have been what did it.
You're fired.
You cannot do that.
You maybe a little too...
you never go full Patricia.
God. All right, over under 4.5. How are they worse than the Panthers?
Dude, that's a really, really low number.
That is.
Just because it's so low, I think they can get 5.
Okay.
Even with me naming how bad that beginning of the schedule is. Mm-hmm. Going below 4 wins is bad. You're basically saying you got the first pick next year.
And you can see the Jets blowing one to them.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I could see them sneaking out a few games, getting better as the season goes along. Since they had to play so many tough opponents, they can win at least 5. So I'm going over.
I'm going to go under just to keep...
Just screw you, New England.
And just to keep us completely opposite on the AFC
I
East.
like it. Complete disagreement.
I don't see any talent. Unfortunately, Bill Belichick, the GM, has wreaked havoc on this team, which sucks because he did have a good decade as a GM.
Yeah.
He's the one who did, the trade down and the picks and stuff like that, or at least his team. He just lost supporting people around him. I think that's Belichick's main problem. But yeah, I think Kraft is on an absolute, he's the GM right now.
Oh, yeah.
And he's hanging out with rappers and just trying to be too cool. Dude, you're 83 years old, man. Or whatever, however, he's in his 80s.
Yeah. He's definitely too old to be running being a GM.
I think Kraft has lost his mind, and we're going to see it on the field.
I'm kind of rooting for that.
First overall pick, Patriots.
I'd like to see them go, 1-16. Yeah. That'd be awesome. But
that second overall pick then to the 0-17 Panthers.
And the Panthers will trade out of it.
All right. Who's winning? Who's winning the AFC East?
Oh, man. Gosh. It's really, really hard to go against the Bills, who have been dominating this division for a while. But I'm going to go with the shocker. I'm going to go with the Jets.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Jets host that wild card game when they lose.
Wild card loss.
They're going to do it. I think the Jets are going to be one of those stories where you're very annoyed by them by November, and then you can start rooting against them.
Yeah.
So, but I do think that they're, besides the offensive line, most complete team. Bills are still kind of a little rebuilding. Do they find their footing early on? Do they struggle early on? Obviously, you know how much I hate the Dolphins right now.
Yeah. And
Patriots are toast. But yeah, I think, the Jets kind of having that year. Finally, we get somebody else to take the East. But it's really close between me. I don't know. I might change my mind eventually. Yeah. But I'm going to go with Jets over the Bills this time.
And I'm just going to be boring and go Bills.
Yeah.
I feel like the boring Bills will win more games. It'll be a calmer year. I feel like that's going to be the story of the season for the Bills. Just a calmer year. Maybe there's a little bit of bumpiness in September. I'm not as into the Jets as you are, and I'm not as down on the Dolphins as you are. Like we ripped the Dolphins in this episode.
No, I'm down on them, dude. They're gonna have a bad season. I'm not gonna be shocked.
But I can't pick them to win the division. I watch Tua and I just see a guy who just doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Bills Jets, week 17.
Ooh.
Mark it on your calendars.
Mark it on your calendars. All right. We'll be back for the NFC East. My name's Miles.
I'm Kirk.
Good night. Wow.